Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. This is another of my fictional short stories. This one is called A Hippie's Life. I was always a little different, so in high school I hung out with the freaks. We went together to Woodstock, in one of those vans, those Volkswagens, and later we drove out to San Francisco's Human Being. A lot of dancing, a lot of fun. And there, Timothy Leary, he used to be called, his real name was Richard Alpert, famously urged us to turn on, tune out, and tune in. And we did. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, like the Beatles, Strawberry Fields Forever, I Am the Walrus, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Acid was transformational. We saw what the world could be. One world, together, in peace. So I was happy when I got into Berkeley, but it was hard choosing a major. So many were aimed at getting you to change the world. Sociology, race studies, gender studies. But I settled on political economies because its courses focus on helping the poor, like how capitalism is bad for the poor. Not just in the U.S., but like in Africa. The political economy major is interdisciplinary, so it doesn't make you an expert like if you majored in one thing, say political science or statistics, but you learn a little bit about everything, which was fun. I chose the theme residence hall. It's now kind of like Berkeley's Unity dorm. It's all about diversity. The whole hall organized going to the March on Washington, renting a van kind of like the one we took to San Francisco. We got to hear Martin Luther King's speech. He got more intense every time he said, I have a dream. One of us said, that's just a speaking technique. But we shamed her and she shut up. Of course, we weren't just standing there in the hot and humid. We had plenty of that sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Actually, 5 of us, 3 guys and 2 girls, hooked up for most of the trip, including in the van. The only downside is that my cough from doing weed was getting worse. That's when I decided to get a hookah hash pipe. Someone told me that water makes it easier on your throat. When we got back, we didn't want to be like the stereotype, show up, hold a protest sign, party, and get back to normal. So we had organizing parties to support union strikes and the Black Panthers. We papered telephone poles about those and even got paid to paper activist concerts like the Women's Music Collective and pure fun ones like Jefferson Airplane's Psychedelic Happenings and Love-Ins, like at the Fillmore East. We decided we could even do more if we lived off campus. So we joined a commune, One World Family, started by this anti-capitalist pro-UFO guy. But there was too much noise even for us, and too much fighting, like when people didn't do their chores, like clean the toilet. We weren't the only ones. By the late 70s, everyone had left. Besides, hookah or not, I was coughing more, and it pissed off some people. What, you got pneumonia or something? You'll give it to us. I wanted to move out, but couldn't afford my own apartment, even a studio in a dangerous neighborhood. But it was cosmic. My father died suddenly of a heart attack and left me a fair amount of money. He was a VP for a food manufacturer. I felt guilty that I was happier about the money than sadder that he died. Maybe it was because he was a Republican. My father's death gave me the freedom to be an activist. I applied for jobs at nonprofits. Finally, one bite. The Bay Area Labor Coalition said I could volunteer if I wanted. I was tempted to ask, you fight for better pay for labor, yet you're making me and others work for below minimum wage, that is, for free, no benefits? But I realized we're all kind of hypocritical, and I wanted a job even if volunteer, so I shut up. With a big chunk of my money, I guess it's still really my father's money, 2 of my friends and I built a straw bale house in Marin. But we kept fighting. I had put up all the money, so I expected them to do a lot of the work, but they didn't. Finally, I told them to go away and that I'd hire someone. They sort of apologized, but they shrugged and quietly left. I was getting depressed and started doing even more weed. I had gotten tired of shrooms and acid. Those were messing me up for a day each time. And I don't think I got any more insights than we, not me, all in, together, and images of people holding hands around planet Earth. I still had more money left, but felt ripped off that even after a year of showing loyalty, I was still unpaid at the Labor Coalition, so I quit. I'm no salesperson, but as an interim, I was a door-to-door and telephone fundraiser for Save the Species, and at election time, volunteered as a poll watcher to make sure the Republicans weren't trying to steal the elections. I couldn't understand how people could actually vote for Republicans, especially as the media got more activist. We figured that the conservatives must be trying to fix the elections. But like I said, I'm no salesperson. So while I got used to asking people for money, I didn't have the magic, so I didn't make my number. Yeah, even nonprofits make you meet a quota. And they demoted me to a shitty territory, and when, no surprise, I did even worse, they, quote, laid me off. Maybe it was the weed, maybe not, but I couldn't motivate myself to look hard for a job. But I got lucky. I was taking a walk with my dog Windcloud and passed Stokely School. I figured it was named after Stokely Carmichael, so I assumed it was liberal. Oops, because the word liberal implies big spender of tax dollars, we're now told to say progressive. I mean, who could be against progressives? Regressives? And Stokely School happened to have just gotten a federal grant for after-school tutors. I tutored kids in reading. I was surprised that the stuff their teachers had them read was pretty progressive. For example, Julian is a Mermaid is a picture book for young children that celebrates a Latino boy in a black community wanting to be a mermaid. My inheritance was running dry. You can't make much as an after-school tutor. So I started to make beaded jewelry and on weekends joined the many others selling crafts on tables in Berkeley. But there was lots of competition from other stringy-haired old hippies, and my cough, which kept getting worse, was scaring away customers. Finally, one woman said, "You should see a doctor." So I went to the Berkeley Free Clinic. They did an x-ray and said I almost certainly have lung cancer, and it seems to have spread beyond the lung. They suggested a CAT scan and then probably chemotherapy and radiation. That was all too scary. Maybe I was rationalizing, but I also thought, I don't want to use society's medical resources if I'm only going to die anyway. So I just went to the herbal store around the corner and bought herbs that the clerk thought might help with the cancer. Of course, the cancer is making me look back on my life. Would I have lived it any differently? I don't think so. In any event, that is called A Hippie's Life. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 36 books. Perhaps most relevant is How to Do Life, or A Dose of Reality, but all 36 are on Amazon. In any event, I thank you for watching. I am Marty Nemko.